Why hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Third Odyssey, Back to the Motherland, in an entirely unsuitable soundtrack. Now, last time, I was planning on kicking off a war with Ponke here, but unfortunately for me, we had a few unfortunate circumstances that meant that's not going to really work out for me. Namely, the fact that Tuscarora here, who was previously willing to join my war, would have brought 8,000 men, bringing us up to superior numbers against them. Tuscarora has now decided that they actually are quite cool with our enemies. So we're not going to be able to actually fight that war because together they have about 15,000 men, and I can only field a maximum of 12,000. So really, I think we're going to have to cancel the war plans, is what I'm saying here, basically. We are going to have to cancel the war plans. Somehow they still have better military power than us, which is baffling considering we have an objectively larger and stronger army. And I see no native tribes around here without a large string of alliances. That annoys me. Anyways, we'll just send off another diplomat to start building a spy network down there, because I noticed that they were actually quite fine with a declaration of war on Catalba here. Which I don't want to do, because that would bring in a large network of allies if we were to declare war. Whereas Ponka's 2 allies, only one of them would be willing to come in their defense, because the Tuetlo, their other ally, which I'm not actually sure where they're at. Apparently they're over here, just covered by the fog of war, terra incognita rather, but they're actually fine with us, so they would not come to their defense. But the 2 of them combined, as I said, still have about 15,000 men, whereas I can only safely field 12,000, so we're going to have to put off the plans for war and just grow our economy and territory to the point where we can take them on. So, sorry about that. I have to change my plans. But the settlers of Diteon here are developing a military culture, so we get 1 extra base manpower in that province, or territory, or whatever. Modifier has expired. That would be the Poseidon Pleased one. Fortunately at the moment, since we're not about to start a war with anyone, I can safely lower my army maintenance to about the halfway mark, which will just hugely increase the amount of money we're making. Speaking of which, where am I? Oh, Mathene up there is where we're colonizing, and there's basically no aggression, so I don't need to station the army up there. I'm going to move my army over to Ivos, just so it's not sitting on the border with them. So if anyone happens to declare war on us, the army's in a nice coastal province and won't be immediately wiped out. Speaking of border provinces, if they didn't have 2 allies over here, then I would quite happily declare war on the Piscataway. Unfortunately, one of our allies would come in against them. And the reason why I want to declare war on them should be quite obvious. They neighbor our capital, and I want that capital to be more secure. So a declaration of war is a way to expand the borders and such. We apparently have some national decisions available. I never seem to encourage divination. I'm not really sure what that actually does for us. Oh, it's just a reduction to national unrest. I don't think we're really going to need that right now. I mean, sure, we have this peasant issue, but it's not really a problem that we can't handle as is. We can just send in the army to crush the peasant revolts when they happen, essentially. That's the simplest way to do it, and it's the way that I'll be approaching things. I do love the early quiet colonization and such, though. I'm sure I've said this before, but it's this early period where I'm just quietly colonizing my way across the new world, and not necessarily waging war with the natives, but having actual diplomacy with them. It's quite nice. As opposed to later on, when I am just raffle stomping everyone near me and utterly crushing the lot of them. We can also invest in a new idea. We've gained some innovativeness, apparently. Or is that we're gaining... I'm not sure if that's saying we get innovativeness for choosing a new idea, or choosing a new idea will give us more innovativeness. I'm not really sure. The way it's phrased is a little bizarre. Picking this idea will increase our innovativeness by 1. Oh. And this is available for 23 more days. Well, that'll give us an extra colonist. I say yes. Thank you for that. There goes all our admin power. The next thing I want to get along this line, though, is, of course, population boom for that global settler increase, because all those little bonuses that we got from stuff like, let me think, how do I phrase this? Now, all those little boosts and like that we got for initially establishing our empire and getting a foothold going, those have been... they've gone away because we've got enough territory that we don't get the special boosts for establishing ourselves anymore. But now that I have a second colonist, I'm going to start colonizing over here in Shinada. Resources have been depleted by migrants, though, but that's less local tax, but I want control of the region just to experiment with something. Because Monacon there, we are now surrounding them. And there's the Tuetlo, who also have a big string of alliances. So I'm not going to want to get on their bad side, but... Next, we can get level 6 diplomatic technology. That'll give us, let's see, the ability to spy and steal other people's maps. And we can build docks to get more local sailors. So if I wanted to start getting a fleet going on, that would be a way to do it. But we're still not really in a position where we need a fleet just yet. Although eventually starting to get a bunch of trade ships going on to collect trade and everything will be a nice way to make some cash. but let's go for that. It'll also give us a brief increase to trade efficiency and decrease to corruption for about 4 years, which is rather nice. So, the next thing that we'll want to get for ourselves, though, is level 6 military for them arquebuses. What can I say? I want better military tech so we can start raffle stomping the natives. As much as I like the peaceful stuff, it is kind of nice to raffle stomp. Expansion becomes organized. Our nation's progress on the field of colonization has rendered the spontaneous effects of our people to cultivate more land obsolete. Colonization is now directed and regulated by our government. This reduces friction with the natives considerably, since we try to respect their territory as much as possible. Quite a shame. I rather liked getting free land. A new world to explore will be removed from Elysia. Let's check and see if we can see what the benefit of that a new world to explore thing was. Colonists +1, colonial range -100. Okay. And sea silk. Oceanic explorers and adventurers. Pearl divers have found clams on the shores and lagoons to the south. Deep in the Kylandian Isles and the shores of Antheros that are suitable for the production of so-called sea silk, higher quality than our Skoros silk is, and more befitting royalty. Attempts to import the clams to the Elysian homeland have failed, as the clams die off in the colder climates of the north. Seems we will have to go to them if we desire high-quality silk. We discover a bunch of places. Essentially, a couple of islands off of Florida and a bit of the coast of what is now Venezuela, I believe. I could try setting up a colony down there. Actually, no, I couldn't. We are too far away for that to work out. Let's see. Apparently, despite the fact surrounding the Ponca, we can't make any deal to make them relocate or anything. Also, I'm going to reduce my army maintenance as far as it can go, because us losing that colonist was actually quite detrimental, since we're now maintaining 2 colonies at once, and we only have the colonists for 1, so that's a lot more expensive. Something I didn't think about when I started colonizing it, because I wasn't expecting that to vanish quite so soon. We have a lot more manpower now, though, so we can afford to field 13 regiments as opposed to just 11. That'll come in handy soon enough, I'm sure. Our manpower is increasing quite a bit. We'll have to keep on pushing south and just claim what we can. Well, south and north. I do wish there was a way to just revoke my claim to be honest, because we're not going to use that claim anytime soon, so just getting rid of it would be kind of nice. Huh. Apparently the Tuscarora would now help us out with them, but given that I've sort of fallen back on my focus of colonizing lands nearby rather than actually waging a war on any of my neighbors, I'm not really interested in that anymore. Growing Varangian influence. The Viking warriors under our employ have earned a fearsome reputation for themselves over the past few years. Their courage and ferocity on the battlefield has helped us win many a battle against the far more numerous Barbari, often snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. In the capital, they've gained considerable influence with the Basilius, who has recently made them part of his bodyguard, much like the Varangians of old. This has caused a stir among the Dynatoi of Nea Constantinopolis, who are wary of having these barbarian foreigners so close to the ear of the Basilius. Whether the concerns of the nobility will be validated or not is yet to be seen. There is little doubt that the power of these so-called Varangians will continue to grow if left unchecked. They grow in prestige every day. We get Varangian influence until the end of the game. Stability cost modifier goes up by 15%, and the Dynatoi lose 10 influence. They're currently at 20. Okay then. Now, we're probably... How far off does the game say we are for this? Let's see. March 1479 we'll be able to boost our settler increase with that idea. So that's only 3 years off, basically. And the natives in Detis, that new place we started settling over here, have started to assimilate into the population. That gives us 2 population, 1 base tax, 2 base manpower. The 2 colonies are now quite evenly matched, so that's rather nice. Even if they'll both probably take a couple of years to establish. And then once they do, I certainly won't be trying to colonize multiple places at once. Again, seeing as we only have the 1 colonist now. Oh, I wonder, do we want to go north or south after we have access to another colonist? That's the question. And more native assimilation there. Hello. I was saying, I wonder if we want to go north or south after it. I mean, the benefits of going south, we could encircle our ally here in our territory and make them more and more dependent on us. But if we go north, there's a possibility we might run into some unaffiliated native tribes that do not have alliances with each other. Probably more likely than if we went south, because even though it's not shown off too well, you can tell that there are quite a few natives down in the Florida region, most likely, which is where we'd be heading if we went south. And our trade good in Menenthai, up there, what was effectively, I think, Delaware before, has changed to fish, which... I don't know. Fish, as a trade good, fish is honestly kind of crap, in my opinion. At least I think it is, in terms of how much money you can make off of it. Iron struck in Detis. Vein after vein of iron ores have been extracted in Detis. Many of the miners believe the ore will never deplete. The only question is how to use it. Begin plans for long-term production. And we'll start producing iron there. I don't think we want to extract it quickly. That would strike me as a very short-sighted thing to do. Production of iron. Very nice. And that estate modifier has expired now. This isn't. All the estate modifiers from the proselytizing heralds have gone away. Let's see here. Unless I'm thinking of something from another game, some option you supposedly have to be able to convert the local natives tribes to our religion, and I'd like to try that again. If I could just find that option. I don't think it was under covert. I'm just not seeing it right now. Whatever. That can wait, I suppose. It can wait. We've gained forced migration against Ponca. The Atlantic Island. What's this? With their new policies to encourage exploration of the world, one of our explorers reported spotting a small island in the Atlantic, and their seemingly futile quest eastward. This has certainly encouraged our explorers to continue exploring even further east. To no avail at this time, although they suggest investigating the possibility of a forward outpost there to increase the range of our vessels. Seems like a lonely place. They're talking about that place, I assume. Which... that's basically Jamaica, I think. Or some... should be, but... this island here... How are they? Distance between borders is the thing keeping us from getting them as a vassal at the moment. However, they are very distant and currently have themselves no alliances or entanglements on the mainland of any kind, so how big is their army? That's the thing I want to check. Military armies. Sort of like Mikra Crete. They have 6,000 men. So I'd probably want to bring my whole army. That'd be about 11 transport ships we'd need. That's not going to happen anytime soon, but I'll keep an eye on it. Shipwrecked survivors. One of our ship captains came in contact with the familiar-looking people on an island in the Atlantic. The stories he gathered, it seems they used to be part of a great expedition and were stranded after a strong storm. Needless to say, everyone in Elysia knows the stories of our past, and news spread quickly that the lost were found. A glorious day for our people. Paris ship. I wish to meet them. Or maybe we won't have to invade them. Maybe they'll just accept vassalization or something. Probably not, but one can dream, eh? Great. Native revolt. Prepare the army to go whoop their asses, please. Oh fuck, our colony was damaged. So they're gonna take some time to get fixed up. We'll keep the army nearby, not on maximum strength, or not on minimum rather, but close enough. The glory of Elysia. As soon as your ships land on the island, the people of Lanthanopolis, the stranded city, the lost city, gather around and greet you with great joy. Most seem somewhat malnourished, but none of them are in too bad a shape. They seem to have done well for themselves and established a small sustainable economy based on fishing, arboriculture, and some goat herding. They notice the strange signs and behavior of our priests. It becomes apparent that they are Christian, and very surprised by our strange new religion. As trust spreads between our party and the locals, and you wonder what you should do. You could return later in full glory and convince them of our legitimacy, making them renounce their false god, or it might be better to just leave them alone in their heathen ways and deny they are truly our people. Let's see. We could convince them of the power and glory of Elysium and our gods. Hellenic becomes their new state religion. That will also their ruler and possible heir. And the thing is, that will cost us a lot of money, for it's effectively some tiny island out in the ass end of nowhere, just to make it essentially a client state. I wonder, is it worth the investment? You know what? Screw it. It's a nice little island base and it'd be a cool place to go for vacation. Let's do it. We can take out some loans. I have literally never taken out a loan so far this entire playthrough, so we can afford a few loans. That's about 4 different loans we have there. We have fulfilled a mission. Which mission is that? High income. Monthly income of at least 10. Because the game thinks that we have a high monthly income since I took out a bunch of loans. But this is sort of a cheesy thing. That's sort of a cheesy approach to take, but what the hell. Some more construction costs out of it. Now, we can eventually integrate these guys into our realm, but we're going to have very high admin tech. For the moment, though, they'll just be a nice little forward outpost and somewhere where our people can go on vacation. And the Vikings up north have apparently changed color. That's sort of interesting, I suppose. That's sort of interesting. Nah, we'll just have the army maintenance on minimum. That way I can probably make enough money by the time that next event rolls around to pay off at least one of the loans. Improvements in government technology. Few locals, workers in the administration have discovered a more efficient way to handle documents. Obviously, they do not know what they are talking about, but can it hurt to let them try their new ideas? This is now our top priority. We'll gain a whole bunch of inflation, but 75 administrative power. I think that's well worth it. Speaking of inflation, how are we doing on the whole inflation thing right now? If I can find that. Let's see, we have 4.95% inflation. Invest in a new idea, so I will pick up population boom for a global settler increase. The next one after this just makes stuff cheaper, essentially. But I think we would like to go down the entirety of development ideas. A lot of these are really good, plus that would enable us to get some more interesting types of ideas once we unlock our next slot. This should make our colonies potentially grow a bit faster. That'll be rather nice. Because if we can get one of them established, we can be making enough money to pay these loans off that much faster. And to be perfectly honest, I only really did that thing to get these guys as a subject of ours because I thought it'd be kind of cool. If I wanted to, I could restrict their expansion to colonization only, but those guys are so small that I'm honestly not sure if their AI will have any desire to expand. And if it does, they're still our subject, and they're so small that we can put them down with ease if they ever decide to rebel. There's no need to concern ourselves with such nonsense. There really is not. Facepalm. Our truce with Spartakion has expired. I don't really care about them. They have a tiny slice of modern-day Mexico. And or Central America now, but they're irrelevant. So I was saying, Facepalm, I tried to click on one of the power things to open up the technology screen because I've been playing a whole bunch of Imperator Rome lately, and that whole functional thing of you click on something and it opens the relevant tab is so useful, and I just forgot that wasn't a thing in EU4, is basically what happened there. Which is a tiny bit embarrassing, but, you know, what you gonna do? The Basilius is now strict, so our armies get more discipline. Excellent. Sonian Magno, Poseidon, god of the seas, lord of horses, and patron god to many of our sailors, thanks to his role in calming the great storm. Our brave sailors are assembled at the square before the temple, waiting for the ritual to begin. The priests walk out of the temple and stand before the assembled crowd. Great cheers well up from the masses, as three single-horned bulls representing the three prongs of Poseidon's trident are brought forth and drowned in Neptuno Adventus. As is customary, a ship bearing the name Neptunos Magnus is put to sea. And of course, we will lead the procession, even if it is going to cost us a bunch of money and mean we won't be able to repay our loan in time. We're still going to do it just because. Treason against Elysia. Recruitment nonsense. That is unfortunate. Lose a little bit from one local manpower modifier for now. That'll wear off in time, and we have no immediate plans to start any wars or expand the army, so I can afford to wait. I can indeed. And now, it is 1480. So let's keep on keeping on. And hopefully eventually be able to pay off at least one loan. Oh, this is a problem. We're having quality issues with our iron ore. One of our iron mines has hit some lower quality ore. This has made raising units more expensive. Poor iron. Infantry and cavalry will cost more for a while. Yeah, we have enough men for the time being. I'm not planning on boosting the size of the army anytime soon, even if we could afford to raise 2 more regiments and still be below force limit. Native issues. Wonderful. Please kill the natives. They're annoying. And we win if we're at low maintenance. That's nice. There you go. Get back to Odysseus now. Varangians want to return home. A band of some of our most loyal and experienced Varangian warriors have requested permission to return to their homeland. Tired of constant battle, they feel that they have earned their keep and fulfilled the pledge to the Basilius. We could try to sweeten the deal by providing them with prestigious military positions, though it may be difficult. Alternatively, the Basilius could use their authority and compel them to stay, though this will not endear us to them. We could let them go. They have served well. We lose 4,000 manpower. They are still needed here. Gain 5 war exhaustion. Offer them prestigious positions as military instructors. I am just going to say that we still need them. Honestly. I can afford a little bit of an increase to war exhaustion. Quite frankly. So, we'll just get away with that for now. Advancement of the merchant classes has expired. An influential chieftain The Barbari wants money. Sorry. It's nothing personal, guys, but we can't afford what you're asking for, so you're on your own for now. Nothing against you, but the Empire actually doesn't have a lot of money right now. Ask me again once we have money, and it'll be a different story. Also, level 7 diplomatic technology. Increase colonial range by 115%. Or just by 115. And naval morale by 0.3. Which, because of a certain penalty that we have right now, that just increases it by 15. Rather than 115. In any case, we're temporarily back in the green. So let's take advantage of that. I'm hoping it doesn't take too long for Menenthai to establish itself as a colony. So then I'll just be colonizing one place and not be spending a stupid amount of money on colonial expenditures. Okay, so we have about a year and a half, or thereabouts, until we're going to be able, until this supposed peasant revolt over taxes. Okay. Also, Catalba has found our spy network and kicked them out. I don't especially care about that. Natives that were living in Monacan, who I was thinking about conquering, have moved on, though, so I can take that province over eventually. Rather nice. Also, screw you bastards for discovering my spy network. And since they've moved on, I no longer need a spy network in their territory. Call them. And we'll be fine. Okay. Sacrifices to the gods, eh? Sorry. No offense to the gods, but we don't have the money for that right now. Ask me again in a bit. Oh joy, a peasant revolt. This is spectacular. Okay, mobilize the army. It's time to put down these peasants. Just as soon as my army has gained enough morale to be able to effectively take the fight to them, that is. And Good government policies, blood, bloody blood. I have enough stability right now. How are we on government reform progress, anyways? Let's actually check that out. 1492. May of 1492, I'll be able to do the Tier 4 reform. Alright. No need to increase reform progress then. Let's just take some money. Because, as everyone knows, money talks. I still can't afford the damn cost. Stop asking. I said next year, not in a few bloody months. Now crush the peasants. Goodbye, peasant scum. Maybe next time you'll be smart and won't go around rebelling against your betters. There we go. Army maintenance down. We can invest in a new idea to get some innovativeness. That one's just going to give us construction and development costs, which, because of our income, I'm not doing a lot of building these days, but it will move us towards some of the other ideas on this chain that are very useful. And it has also unlocked the first of our national ideas, the ones specific to our nation. In this case, it's unlocked understandings with natives. As strangers exiled to these foreign lands can only prosper if we work with those that understand these lands. Like the old Romans and Sabines, we can once more become whole. This idea unlocks various options and events, and facilitates friendship with natives. So that will reduce the chance of a native uprising and increase the chance of native assimilation. Speaking of... if I could find the bloody thing... We're currently on trading policy for how we interact with the natives. And I'm going to stick with that, I think. For the time being, seems like the smartest approach to be taking. And we have renewed a bunch of loans, because I couldn't afford to pay any of them off. And I'm not stupid enough to do something as asinine, and again, we cannot pay for your bloody ritual. I'm not as stupid as to do something as asinine as to take out a loan in order to pay for a loan. That's like the equivalent of paying for your credit card debt on one credit card with another credit card. Just a little bit bonkers, I'm sure you'll agree. Just a little bit. But next month, Menthai should be finished with its colonization. Yep, they are quite self-sustaining now. So, Detis will send them a colonist to speed things along. And we get a core on Menthai and our usual stuff in there. And now, we can complete the mission Elysian Homelands. Our nation would greatly benefit from securing a good amount of land around our capital. Strong, solid homeland, blah. And that will give us some admin power, prestige, as well as base tax, base production, and base manpower in Elysia. And we get the Silk Production Resumed event. As I said, Silk Production Resumed. It's taken some years since we arrived in this new land, but we've managed to breed sufficient moths to produce what we call Scoro Silk, an ancient production method that was superseded by more modern techniques. The silk produced is of visibly lower quality than what we brought with us, but it's better than nothing. An outpost should be set up as soon as possible. Scoro Silk will be produced in Elysia. Excellent. And we've now finished with all the first tier events. Or missions, rather. The next one we want to move down to is a true nation. That will require the year to be at least 1500, which is only 17 years off, and in the true span of things with EU4, that's not very long. So we'll be finishing that pretty soon, and that'll get us some nice little bonuses. Replace manpower shortage, which is quite the headache. At some point we want to be expanding Elysia by conquering new states. And it's grown by at least 5 states. I'll have to see about that, but who knows. And yes, quite the big growth in our income. I can also now select a naval doctrine. Let's see. Merchant Navy is what I'm going for. Its prime directive is to serve the financial interests of the state. Every effort shall be made to ensure our cargo ships are laden with foreign riches. Ship trade power plus 33%. That'll cost us a bit of money, but oh well. And how far up? I can't have my army maintenance at maximum, but I'll bring it up to about there. Just shy of 50%. Enough that we're making a decent amount of money, but at the same time, and we are now trading in Scoro Silk. At the same time, our army is not totally unmaintained, is essentially what I'm going for. And we're back to only colonizing in one place at a time again. So I'm not going into a deficit or any such thing. Next month, I should also be able to pay off the first of my loans. Yep, 60. No, I need 63 because of the interest, so it'll be one more month. No, I do not have any plans to rival my ally. Stop asking. Atma Refredatir, a wealthy merchant, has recently arrived at the Emperor's court from the snowy reaches of Vinland. For years, she's strived to show her people the merits of trading with their allies instead of always raiding them, though as expected it has been somewhat difficult. In an attempt to bridge the gap, she's offered her services to Elysia in a more formal capacity, with the goal of creating new trade routes and diplomatic contacts. As a show of good faith, she also offered bottles of the finest mead and honey from her ancestral lands as a gift to the Emperor. Let's see. Diplomatic reputation or goods produced modifier. I think we'll go with the goods produced modifier. I must get my hands on some more of that mead. I'm also now making enough money that I can at long last actually afford to start hiring advisors. Not necessarily all of them, but we can hire some. Mrs. Refdotier, or whatever, is going to be my first advisor. Now, I'll get someone over here. Demetrios Mascaris. For the admin advisor, yeah. Now we'll see what our income is next month with that. Yeah, we may actually be able to afford an advisor for the military as well, but I'll just get the fort defense guy just to sort of have a military advisor, essentially. And there goes all the money that I was planning on spending on repaying a loan. Nice. So, let's lower the army maintenance all the way, just so I can make more money now. Do we have an advisor disagreement? One of our advisors is denouncing the Basilius' policies in front of foreign ambassadors.
Kings and queens, young men are sent to die in war. Their propaganda.
I just spent good money on hiring that military advisor, and our choices are to chop off his head or admit it was kind of a good point. I think it was a good point. Let's not cut off our advisor's head, especially since, as I said, we did spend good money on getting his services. And we're not going to get a refund if we cut off his head, unfortunately. We've already paid him. And we're not also seizing his personal finances, so yeah. Okay. It's going to be a little bit until I have the money that I need. So Spartakion is planning on attacking someone. I don't really care, to be honest. That's their business. But apparently their leader is incapable of keeping secrets. Nice. Very, very nice. They really should do something about that. Their leader can't keep a secret. That's gonna be a problem for those guys. Not that it affects me, mind you. And now, I can upgrade to level 6 military technology. That'll give us access to the Arquebus building. or the barracks rather. Arquebus is the technology name. It'll also give us 0.25 in military tactics, combat width +2, infantry fire plus 0.2, and shock plus 0.3 for our infantry. Let's do it. Now, we are behind the times a little in military tech, apparently. We need to get that next level of technology. That'll be the thing that unlocks artillery batteries, so we'll finally have siege equipment, and be pretty good at laying siege to places. Definitely going to be worth the investment. Is that one, I think? Right. And now I can invest in development ideas. Inflation reduction per year goes down, as does yearly corruption. The one that I really want will require me to get this plus the next one before I can unlock it, because what I really want is colonial administration. Colonies on the continent of Elysium start with 200 settlers. That's what I want. And of course, institution embracement cost and institution spread. So, yeah, I'm just sort of blitzing through these development ideas right now and kind of ignoring administrative technology at the moment, but I really want to get through because that extra innovative, that extra ideas thing, as well as just some of the, sorry, I'm just phrasing this wrong. That extra institution spread, as well as having colonies on this continent start with 200 settlers rather than nobody. Those two will be just so incredibly useful. The upgrade to the number of states we can have in our empire, as opposed to merely provinces, also is nothing to turn up the nose at. And now we can repay a loan. So, let's pay them back for that loan. And now I have 3 loans remaining. I don't think we're going to be able to pay any of those remaining loans off on this occasion, but we're starting to pay off the little bit of debt that we have accrued. And that is very good news indeed. Our colony over in Detis is also making some nice progress and has reached over 900 settlers, so it will be fully established soon. Advancements of the Dynatoi, they get a bit more influence. They don't have a lot of influence, it's like 20%. Yeah, it is actually 20% in fact, so that's nothing to be worried about. But now, we've reached January of 1486, and I think this is a good place to call it for this episode. We've actually managed to get a decent amount of stuff done this time. Even if I ended up calling off the war at the last minute. we've expanded a good bit, and getting quite deep into my idea tree, and I actually have a fairly reasonable income now. Even if it becomes less reasonable if I have to fully fund the army. So, I am going to end this episode here. Thank you very much for watching, and hope you'll join me next week for some more Elysian adventures. See you then.